Okay, ready? Thank you so much for having me here.
We're glad you're here.
I'm starting my business now. I'm in about the 7th month. Are there any things you learned in your first year, anything you wish you did differently, or any advice you would give somebody in their first year?
The first piece of advice I would give anybody is to be very specific about what they do and get that message clearly across to both your clients and your competitors. Because I think part of the issue in our industry is that it's very fragmented. It's important to pick a segment and become an expert in that segment. That's sometimes hard to do because you're passing up other opportunities. That said, I've had this business for close to 40 years, and I always say I'm the luckiest person in the world because I get up every morning knowing exactly what I do.
What was your first big deal after launching your company? And how did you land it?
Actually, I don't remember the first big deal, but I remember very specifically one deal, which was I made a lease for Consolidated Foods, which became Sara Lee, for a computer center in Oak Brook. And I remember it specifically because I knew that if we didn't make that commission, we were going broke. So I made that deal, and that put us over the edge in the first year to keep us going. So that one I always remember.
You got it in the right timing.
That's right. We were right at the edge, and that deal came across, and it was just a bounce.
So obviously in this business, it requires us sometimes to work a lot and travel a lot. How do you balance all your work with also having fun and personal life?
In an entrepreneurial business like ours, your life becomes your business, and your business becomes your life. I can remember having to show space on a Saturday, and I have identical twin daughters, and one of them came with me, and you're walking around looking at this office space, and she said, "Danny, this space is dirty." And all I could think of was, God, don't say that in front of the guy who owns the building. But she was right. And so, from an early age, they were part of my business into this, and now they actually work here. So you have to figure out a way to make it all a part of one, because you can't separate it. It's not the bell rang and I get to go home now. The bell never rings.
But you solved that because your daughters work with you.
Now, that's right, but we have a rule here for 5 years after college they can't. And I've had competitors, children work for me, and eventually go to work for their families. But in my children now work here, all worked, one for 5 years for someone else, and one for 10. And then just came. So I want them to get great experience from someone else now. Hopefully that answers some of your questions. My kids were young, they were always fascinated by Jaws. And I said, you don't understand, the great white sharks are the Jewish real estate guys in New York. They aren't fish in the ocean.